What spiked my interest in the United States Air Force Academy is that I've always been amazed at flight, and I've always been amazed at pilots. And I thought, wow, what a great way, because the Air Force Academy is one of the schools that was recruiting me. And I decided to accept their offer to go to the Academy. And so I went to the Academy. July 6, 1984 is when I started basic training at the United States Air Force Academy. If you make the pilot qualifications, the physical qualifications, you're granted a pilot slot. You go to pilot training, where I went, and I started pilot training, and pilot training lasts approximately 1 year. And so after a year of training, they brought me back to be a first assignment IP, which means instructor pilot. And I stayed back at Reese Air Force Base, and I was teaching there, and I was teaching basic flight principles. After that assignment, I was there for 3 years. Then I was selected to go fly the A-10. So the reason they built the A-10 Warthog was to fight the Cold War in Europe. And the A-10 was built as a survivable airplane. The uniqueness is that anything on the airplane on the right side can be put on the left side. So if something happens to the airplane, you can move it to the other side of the airplane on, once you're fixing it. So you can use multiple surfaces to fix the airplane. But probably the most important thing about the A-10 was the GAU-8 gun. That's the Gatling gun on the front of the airplane. It is a 7-barrel gun run by dual hydraulic systems, and it shoots bullets that you can go look up on Google. But the bullet is a 1-pound projectile, and it shoots 70 of those per second. 70 per second. And the accuracy is unbelievable just due to the computer systems on the airplane, right? We also have, because of survivability, the airplane has sealable wing tanks, right? They prevent fuel from spilling out. There's certain components in the actual tanks that prevent fuel from just spilling out if you were to take a bullet through the airplane. It also has what's called a titanium bathtub. That's where the pilot sits. And you can take anti-aircraft artillery rounds right to the bottom of the aircraft underneath the pilot, and it won't penetrate what we call the titanium bathtub. On top of that, it also has bulletproof glass on the front windscreen, so any sort of light anti-aircraft artillery and or small arms automatic weapons are not able to penetrate the windscreen of the airplane. So I flew the A-10 from basically from 1994 until 2010. That was my last flight, was in 2010. So roughly 16 years. As a fighter pilot, we would rotate our units in and out because what they tried to do is make it so you weren't there year after year after year after year, right? So there's multiple units that are spread throughout the United States and Europe. And so what we did is we would go in, and that time, there were times where we were supporting the Iraq mission, right? Which was in, the 1990s, right? When Iraq invaded Kuwait, right? We supported a mission there and the UN resolutions for that. And then when 9/11 happened, we were supporting both Iraq and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is where Osama bin Laden was. And so there were multiple tours, if you want to put it that way, multiple deployments to those areas, and was able to fly in those regions and provide air support for our ground brethren. That's what the A-10 was built for, was close air support. And our job was to go in there and make sure that, if our troops got into a bad situation, that we were there to help them out, to make sure that they were safe, and to give them any sort of support they would need in any sort of battle they were in. I knew that we, the United States, would eventually bring him to justice. It takes a whole lot of intelligence resource. It takes a whole lot of assets to make sure that you capture one person. We eventually did get him, but I never thought it would be me who went and did it, and it wasn't me, but boy, it would have been cool if it was, huh? I actually did a couple more tours. I went back to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, did a couple tours. I was a squadron commander of an A-10 squadron there. So I actually had about 70 pilots. There was about 250 maintenance and 28 airplanes that I was in charge of. So quite an extensive scope and scale of responsibility. But after that, I came back to Minneapolis here and was at the University of St. Thomas as a professor, and I did 3 years as the ROTC commander and then retired in 2013. So I served my country. Like I said, I graduated in June 1st, 1988. I retired October 1st, 2013. So that's 25 years, 4 months, and 0 days. You know, whether you're military, whether you're first responders, and you're serving others, those who serve others, we do it because we want to do it. We do it because it's a calling for us. And we do it because there's that sense of purpose that we have an inherent need to go out and do those things. What I would say is that, you know, thank those people, whether they are military, whether they are the first responders, whoever they are, go out and thank them and just say, you know, appreciate what you've done. We all live in this country. We live under a great Constitution, and fighting for that Constitution, for our rights, and to make sure that our people in this country are safe is probably the most important thing I've ever done in my entire life.